All right, all right, all right. We back in the building. Urban Matters Black Media Group. We got Voss Computer Systems in the mix 2025, y'all. And we told you we was gonna bring this hot fire this year in 2025, and we got a special guest today, my brother all the way from the MIA by way of Buffalo. We got one of them Buffalo soldiers in the building, brother Dry Bones. He's coming in, y'all. He'll be coming in later on. So we finna break this thing down a little bit, y'all. We're gonna let this little clip play in the background while we do the introduction of my gracious host. We got the black lumberjack slash the the professor. I mean, this young man is dishing out all type of education. He's definitely here. We're addressing a lot of mental health with black men, and we're just doing the whole thing for 2025. We did a survey on Lincoln the other day. I'm gonna get that ready too, and I'm gonna run that clip for y'all a little later on. I'm gonna let some of that go. We're gonna have a real quick lecture from the professor. Professor, what you gonna be chopping up game? Real quick. Just give us a real brief review what you're gonna be chopping up. We're gonna let Dry Bone go first because I think he said he got a quick date at 8. But Professor, just give us a real preface of what we're gonna be discussing today in your lecture.
Well, hope you're doing well, and I hope all your my folks, are doing well.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! Oh yeah, we have this New Year. Yeah, we've been rolling like that. I hope everybody's doing well, and greetings to Mr. Drybones. Well, you have been always interested in history in our community. So the other question that you had is that why has Roosevelt, why has our educational um, institutions in the community that was there, what happened to all that? So you wanted to run series you wanted me to investigate and explore our educational history. So I've done that for you, and I'm quite prepared to go through these series that you would like for me to do, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We greatly appreciate that, Professor. And Dry Bones, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick for the Urban
What's
Matters
going
Black
on?
Media Group family.
What's going on, people? Good people all over the place. Good to hear you. And been knowing my brother for a long time. I host a program called Dry Bones Connection, and we've been pretty much in this struggle for information and knowledge for quite a long time. And I think it's coming full circle. That's why I say we meet people like my brother here, Professor, them, because we going into that position where we gonna all have to take a look at the technology that's been out there, and also the infrastructure that's being laid for us, where most people don't realize, like Professor was talking earlier, his expertise in this is going to be vital, along with pretty much a lot of our own family members who are involved with this, because just the way the system is headed.
Absolutely.
So when me and you talk about it, I like to bring the past, present, and future at the same time on these programs, but I do try to get it to bring everybody in one vein. But it's not far fetched for us to realize that the system is being somewhat controlled based on technology. Today's group of people, like Professor might allude to, would be called the technocrats. The technocrats are a group of people who are technically involved and creative, but they've been around for a long time, even during the civil rights movement. The technocrats have been around. So there's like a movement now to bring all this information and technology and education and to fruition. So we look forward to chopping this up and get into the full spectrum of the history, past, the present, and then the future, where this conversation should be going. So I'm glad you're showing these pictures. Is this your high school up there at where you live at?
Yes, sir. Professor, elaborate.
Yeah, because I'm not sure. Yeah, get on them. Some beautiful pictures. Go ahead. Hit on that. That looks very good. Wow.
We can't hear you, Professor. I think we lost you. We lost your sound.
Wow. Y'all, that's your host. They got to see your class up. Okay. Lake Wales. Oh, man. Not Lorenzo.
Rizzo from right here in our hometown, right here.
Amari Stoudemire. Okay.
This young man right here, he just went to the Chicago Bears. That's my brother right there, the head coach. State championship. We was down there.
Man.
Let me know when you want me to give you a little lecture on all of this.
Yeah, because he's showing that. Yeah.
Go ahead, Professor. We're just letting it play in the background. Right.
Yeah, go.
This is the presentation that I had down at the parade the other day, Drabon.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Professor.
Yeah, hit on that.
So indulge me for a minute. So my assignment has always been to bring back the research. I was asked to do research about the Black history in Lake Wales, right? And there's a lot to say about it. In Lake Wales, education started in 1917. That's when the first school was started, when some Black people got together, some pastors, group of people got together, and they built their own education program. You must remember, when Black people came to Lake Wales, they're not native. They came to Lake Wales for economic reasons, like my father. In fact, this November 18th will be 100 years that my name go back to Lake Wales. My father moved to Lake Wales in November 18th, 1925. So that's going to be 100 years. So I'm quite passionate about the education there, and that's been part of my research. I tell people I started high school at the age 2 because my mother taught at Roosevelt. Now, how did the name Roosevelt come about? I think, and I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit, but the name of Roosevelt came about when President Roosevelt, the New Deal. See, we got a new president now, so I think Dr. Drybones, you would like this. So when Roosevelt came to Lake Wales, he was so impressed with the accomplishments that the Black people had done. They had worked together and they bought the land from the Lake Wales Land Company. Okay, they worked together. They had fish fries, pie. It was a vibrant. This was segregation. Now this was in 1917. Okay,
Right.
So Roosevelt was so impressed with the struggle of education. You must remember, as a fruit picker, as a man, you couldn't go to in Lake Wales. You couldn't go to school during the wintertime because that was fruit season. So you mostly had women that was in school, if anybody. So that went on a long time until Roosevelt, 1940, he made it a law. Here's the law. The law was to preserve and protect the history of Black people in Lake Wales. Everything I'm telling you, you can look it up. That's why they call it Roosevelt. And he did a lot of schools. So in that New Deal, when he became president, in that New Deal, that's some of the things he did, the work initiatives, the administrative programs, he did that. So in Lake Wales, because at that time, just like my father, during the Depression, he moved there because of the Depression in Alabama. Alabama, there was no cotton to pick. And if you could pick cotton, you were making less than a quarter a day or something like that. But in Florida, you were making 3 times that. So that's why we were such a melting pot in that Central Florida, because of the oranges. This was a heyday. So at some point, education became a concern. And again, President Roosevelt was so impressed, he made it a law to preserve and protect the Black history in Lake Wales. So I've taken up as a researcher, I always thought it was very striking that then if that was a law, then how did the Black schools became abolished in 1970? So a lot of my research, I don't want to, and Dr. Juice just kind of cut me off, but because I can spend the rest of the night. I mean, so
we're going to let you come back. But we want to get a real quick.
I'm not how you feel on that.
We're gonna uncover some truths that Dry Bones had on his show Sunday, man. You missed a good one, Professor. Oh my gosh, boy. I was like, yo, man, I was working, but I was listening, and I was like, I came in a little bit. Remember, I came into the queue, right?
You came in.
And man, the show was fire. I mean, it was truly that real
It
Helios
was all over.
fire. And I got to commend my brother on his research, man. This guy right here, Professor, you think I'm a good researcher. This guy right here, man, yo, this guy really inspired me right here, man.
We
Tell him,
came up
Dry Bone.
together, so we connected. So
Wow.
I tell people, man, the way I look at history, the way I was taught, it has to have a cult influence involved to really get the gist of what the history is, because a lot of the secret societies is throughout the history. So if you don't look that up, then you ain't telling me no real history. You just give me what they want you to hear. When you dig deep into the history and find out who are the main characters, they all part of something. So
Man.
I always took that view. It was taught to me that way. That's why I did it. But Dr. King, like we said before, we've been doing the program for quite a long time on Dr. King to watch his transition from how he became who he was. Remember, the whole thing is based off of a social programming, which is the civil rights. Like brother said earlier, we grew up watching. We think we watching Good Times, but Good Times was an experiment by a group of people. Patrick Moynihan out of New York, my state, came up with the idea of actually segregating the people. And of course, being New York is the mecca of all the so-called sitcoms and all the shows at the time. They got Norman Lear, who was well profoundly known for all his sitcoms, and he was able to put together the social programming that was necessary through television by using Good Times, All in the Family, and so forth like that. We growing up, we young. I went to all black schools in the beginning, but they segregated us into white schools primarily in Buffalo, New York. So we got the idea, but it wasn't the same agenda that our parents seen. The agenda with our parents was mainly more of really unsuspecting, like my brother just said, by the schools. Some of the schools are controlled by Rosenthal, the Rosenthal schools. West Palm Beach and them had it. Y'all area, I don't know if y'all had a Rosenthal school of Sears and Roebuck, who I'm talking about, fame. He had a series of schools.
Right.
And then we got to look at the profoundness of the HBCUs was basically philanthropy through white philanthropists who, like Wilberforce. Most of these names are named after white people.
Isn't the Roebucks and Sears and all those
Yeah.
folks some type of way relatives of Cecil Rhodes?
Julius Rosenthal and all of them, and Cecil Rhodes and all those cats. We end up finding out after you do the research deeply on the money spent through scientific and technology, like brother say. This is where you get the Progressive Party, where they're using social engineering and social programming. So when I look at the civil rights now as a kid, I was caught up in the awe of that. Man, we black civil rights sounded good to me because I seen a lot of white people was very mean in our growing up. Especially, I told you, it's two different types of white people. Y'all got the ones down here, but we got some of the Polish, Irish, Italians. Those are the ones we grew up with. The Germans, they right there. Italians was mainly amongst the blacks and the Italians. So
Absolutely.
when we see the civil rights movement, we see that those groups today, and we'll make it quick. They were organized through a social engineering program, and it so happened that Dr. King and them through education, which they have to do. Education is first. You brainwash people through education first. If you the parents are a product of the education, and believe it or not, we made a big mistake because black people during the time of the civil rights had better schools. The education level was higher back then than it is today. So we got to ask ourselves what social engineering has done, because back then you had to know all your geography. Back then we had technical schools. I went to a technical high school. They taught us skill levels. Our parents was craftsmen back then, farmers. Y'all come from a farm. I've been to Lake Wells, beautiful area. I see it up and coming more so than ever now since the last time I was traveling there. But the civil rights movement was profoundly based on supposed to be on black people getting their share of the pie. Well, for the first years after Civil War, blacks was the richest groups, richest demographic in all of North America. That's just a fact. richest demographic through agricultural training. We had the Tuskegee schools. These schools produce some dynamic educational mindsets. So the civil rights movement had a bright mind of people. But then if you get people to say, abandon your businesses just so you can now say you are equal with white people in doing business was already doing business transaction with them. I don't know about y'all, I can't speak for y'all, but look what y'all just showed me of your what y'all just showed me. Y'all had elk clubs, y'all had churches, businesses, all that was in Lake Wales. When I got down here, I'd never heard of Lake Wales till I got down here. No one heard of Lake Wales, not no New York. So to hear y'all talk is a beautiful thing to make me see, wow, here's a group of people that's down here, and I'm following the civil rights movement path that was told that migrant farmers, my father from Alabama, migrant farmers, doing the same thing. But so with the Jim Crow laws, made it easy for the civil rights movement to now come to fruition by using second group that you use besides education is the clergy, church and school.
Explain this right here to us, right here, Drybone. Why you speaking of civil rights?
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check. We are coming to get our check. We are coming to get our check. We are coming to get our check.
For the people in the back.
We are coming.
Well,
that was clear.
That's the speech that probably put the nail in the coffin, because I told you when he said that, his whole disposition was changing at that time. He was starting to see that his problem. Those of you who heard the show on Sunday, we played the clip about his dream turning into a nightmare. But you see what he told. He told on him. He basically told him. Now, at this age now, we 68. I don't even, Professor born, I'm born. You may not be born as of yet. But 68, we 5 years old. We have no idea this system has even been made into fruition by what he just said earlier. I mean, I thought when I first started realizing, I said, man, did he say that they gave them land grant colleges? A grant ain't got to be paid back.
Land grant.
Don't got to be paid back. Then we get tax exemptions on their businesses that they was doing. So I tell people all the time, I said, man, you know, if we look at the whole entirety of this, there's a bigger power that can cut off King, cut off the president, cut off the attorney general. If we just look at those three killings, not the state, the rest, my goodness, man, that right there should be a wake-up call for everybody to really take a good look at what's really going on, if that could be done. And then he said, give money away. Who we giving money away to now? Ukraine. So the same scenario is happening again. So it's a repetitious cycle that is going on diabolically right before our very eyes, because how could a man who just got, who's dead now, actually tell us that they gave away free land to European immigrants. And now they're doing the same thing today under the auspices of these policies. That's why I tell people, when you talk about civil rights, you got to talk about policies with that. You know, what's your thoughts on that, Professor? I don't know if you ever heard that clip, but isn't that very? I mean, right there tells you that the whole civil rights movement it either took a drastic shift to have him say the same thing that long ago, and yet we still giving away all the citizens' money. What's your thoughts on that?
So, number one, I was 8 years old. I was born in.
I'm 5. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's important. But here's the thing.
I know. We 5 years old. Don't know this happening.
But here's the important. It's very important, and we don't have time frame conversations. We don't have time frame because, and the reason why we don't, and that we're not encouraged, because think about it. When you think about, being old, right? They say, oh well, that's been a long time ago. That's been long. So we don't. Here's the data again. When we have conversations, we don't have conversations from a time frame. I was born in 1959. The data that you were impressed with, that you saw, those photos, and I got a big surprise for Dr. Juice on data. The data that I have, the research that I have is very rare data. Our history was being sold, and I have evidence for all of that in a bad way. When I did research, I found that there was no Black history in the Lake Wales Library. And I challenged Dr. Juice. He said, no, Vo, we love arguing with each other. It got to be some. He said, I said, what you do, you go down there, that's your homework assignment, and you go down there in the library, because you know that we have a very rich history, and you tell me what you see about Black. And he did that. Tell him what you found, Dr. Juice.
I found empty boxes, empty spaces.
Wow.
So, and there's a lot of politics behind it. There's a lot to be said about that. I don't want to take up too much time.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole nother.
But let me end it by saying this to you that you'll be impressed with, Mr. Jarbone. I've copyrighted history, and I have data very rare data that no one seems to have. And my surprise is when Dr. Juice wanted me to, I promised him that I would show him a very rare piece of data that I'm looking to use AI to deal with.
That's
I have a very rare. Let me know when you want to see that. But I have a very rare artifact. When you asked me to give you some history. So my surprise to you, I have some very rare data that I haven't seen in a long time. You'll be very impressed with it.
From Lake Wales.
Let me know when you want to see it.
You got it now?
Absolutely.
I mean, hell,
okay.
That's what we're here for.
Okay, fine.
While Professor pulling that up, we're gonna share another real quick slide.
And I'll share
Professor's pulling
I'm
that
ready.
up.
I'll share my screen once you do that. We take your time.
Hold on, Professor. Wait, this about a couple of minutes. Because I won't drive on to finish up.
Legacy is one that changed the course of history for Black people in America. It extends well beyond Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s untimely passing in 1968. It is a legacy that is marked by the pursuit of civil justice and peace in the nation. Unfortunately, the King family legacy is also tainted by wrongful deaths. 6 years after the assassination of one of the world's most esteemed leaders, Dr. King, his mother, Alberta Williams King, would suffer the same fate, dying at the hands of a gunman. The tragic incident led the world to wonder why anyone would seek to harm a family who has already experienced so much sorrow. Some would say the answer is religion, others, misguided anger. This is the untold true story of the assassination of Alberta Williams King and the Black Hebrew Israelite who took her life. Mrs. Alberta Williams King was born in 1903 in Atlanta, Georgia. She was the daughter of Jenny Celeste and Reverend A.D. Williams, the second pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. The upstanding values her parents instilled in her.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me a Black Israelite killed King's mom?
That's what we told you. I told you that when we first found out about that, we were looking at some of the books. You know, you had people, Dr. Pepper, Dick Gregory, a lot of them was talking about it. Ray Fauntleroy, who's been on our show many times, he was with King as well. We started looking into that, how like he get killed. First, if there's a couple attempts on his life, always by blacks. Thought it was really weird. I'm like, wow, you know, black women try to stab him, and up in New York. Then we get into, you know, all the things that went through the North, worse than the South. So it was interesting that they doing the same. That's what we did a show years ago called MLK Ultra, because they seem to get people.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
they
that.
seem
That was a great
they
show.
seem to get people who have schizophrenia, personalities, who a lot of them been in the military, and we, you know, they get them to do these things. And this one was indoctrinated by one of the groups I was affiliated with, the Hebrew Israelites. So, you know, and some of the rhetoric that he was speaking of, I heard firsthand. So it shocked me when I found that type of connection. And then just recently, about 2 years ago, another schizophrenic woman tries to burn the king's house down in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, Atlanta is a very Masonic state.
City.
Yeah, the whole state is masonry, because you travel through
The whole state. Yeah,
whole
you're
state.
right.
Yeah,
Got the damn stones
yeah,
up there
they
and
got
everything.
everything. So I mean, so I can, that from me knowing that part of the cultic, I can fuse the different mindsets that are permeating in these areas. So basically, that's how I got to find out. A lot of the esoteric groups were located in Georgia, based on its proximity of the longitude lines. And you know, once we get, you know, one time we do a real show, I'll show you the lines, and I can show you all the ley lines of that area. But right now, I thought it was unbelievable that a black group, the same like today, doing the same thing that, you know, has been going on. So I thought it back then. I said, man, they were doing CIA psyops way back there with J. Edgar Hoover and them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All day.
all day long.
All day.
Nothing's new under the Helios. That's what we stand by. There's nothing new under the Helios. You see, we got the map behind it. It's nothing new.
Hey,
It's a worldwide event.
I was so excited, man, too. I told Professor, right? I say, "Dog, man, Dry Bones on, bro." He was like, "Yo, I was on to like 10. I think Professor, I was on to like 10:20, and I tried to link up with the Dry Bones connection, and they wasn't having a show. So they doing all kind of janky stuff when it comes to us broadcasting this information to y'all and getting out.
That's
It's hot fire.
that's part of I'll tell people, man. Now remember, we talk all over the people calling us from all over the country. I mean, people listening from all over the place. The thing about that is, you know, we made it to a newscast where people tell us the information that's going on and whatever is happening. Like, Professor would be good to meet the brother from Ohio, the inventor, because he's another brother. You know what I'm talking about? Another creative brother. When we get on a new platform, which I don't know, we might do this one depending on how. Some people still like the radio platform. They talk about stay on the radio.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So we just gonna work with what's best.
Exactly.
But right now, you know, I'm just glad that you taking up the mantle, people taking up the mantle, and we can use this as a platform. I suggest like Lake Wells area. We should have had a lot of teachers on and tonight and do a debate on the civil rights movement with some of the people,
yes,
and have it shown, because what's happening is y'all the heartland of Florida. Really, y'all really are. I mean, once you pass West Palm Beach, it's a whole different animal once you get into Dade County. So y'all like the heartland, and you know, the history there is really unkept. I don't think people know too much about it. A lot of people come from y'all area down here, and they'll tell you most people now leaving this area to go into Atlanta or Georgia. So a lot of the people that's in Dade County is moving off of a civil rights. See, this is how it gets deep. When you look at the enforcement of the civil rights, this is where the legal stuff comes. That's why I have to deal with what I'm dealing with now with that, because you can't get this from people no more. People too, you know, everybody want to be covenant of the knowledge and stuff, but knowledge is to and fro in the earth. So I'm telling you that legally they have not enforced the law of 1964. And that's how come I know. I'm 2 years old, and now I find out that they have never enforced it. I think that's a travesty right there for Black history. Stephanie coming up. Maybe we should hold a Black history event up in Lake Wales live on the air when you like you did there. I think that'll be something that would be interesting. Is the NAACP still big there or no? In Lake Wales. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I think he might. Can you hear me?
Well, I hear you good. What you is the NAACP still big in y'all areas? Because I mean, here they're not existing.
Oh, sorry about that. I was on mute. I say they strategic planning is very, very vague. Go ahead, Professor.
Oh well, I
ahead,
echo the same thing. I haven't seen or heard anything like really effectively. One of the big problems that all Black people have, but especially in those kind of areas, that there's no organizational leadership skills. And that kind of brings me into this artifact. If you want me to indulge you on something, and
yeah, man, put it on.
Let me just kind of give you a little back. Let me give you a 3-minute background.
Now a lot of people, it's only me us three on here. You streaming this? This should be streamed.
Yeah. Let me give you a little background before I share this. So my mother quit teaching college to have me. So I started high school when I was 2 years old because she was a substitute teacher at the Black school, Roosevelt. Roosevelt had 13 principals. Okay. What I'm about to show you, one of the reasons why I sell wood and I get teased a lot, that Paul Bunyan and all this, because somebody has to pay for the research, Mr. Drybone. The way I fund my research, I sell firewood because when you think about AI, there are all kind of tools. It's like going into Home Depot. What are you trying to fix? What are you trying to repair? I want to give you an example of what I'm looking to do with AI. I have some very rare content.
How come I'm not seeing it? Where you at?
I'm about to pull it up.
Yeah,
I'm about to pull it up now. I have some very rare. This is some very rare content, never seen before until now, that I'm using AI to work with. Do you see that?
No.
Share my screen.
Wait, nobody can see nothing but me.
Okay, hold up. We got it right here.
Principal message. Okay.
So he was the last, Mr. Brody, very powerful man.
Mm-hmm.
He was the last principal when they shut the Black school down there. Before him, you had 13 principals before him. That picture that you asked about, that was the graduating class of 1959. I think the year I was born, or one of those years. I gotta look at it again. But my company owns all of this. I got all of this copyright because you had a lawyer down there who was trying to. There's a lot of politics that go behind this, but the bottom line is, my company owns it, and we're looking to create a digital museum because the museum in Lake Wales have no history, and this is not to indict the white people. Okay, I have evidence that the Black people they fought. They didn't even want their own history. They didn't want it.
They didn't want it?
No, they didn't. I have evidence. If you want to see that, I'll tell you what. I'll pull that up when I finish. I have a video. I'll pull that up as soon as you see this. But no, they didn't want. They didn't want to participate.
Dr. Juice, you familiar with this gentleman here too?
That was way before his time.
I'm saying he's been. I mean, was he well known to? I mean,
everybody our age. Oh, absolutely. If you look at the chat, I don't know if you can see the chat, but there'll be people that'll bring the ghost watchers out. Everybody our age. If you were born, you said that you were 2 years old in '64. I was 4 years old. The school. Here's the thing. In Florida, when you say they didn't enforce the law, I give you a little history. Civil Rights Bill was passed in 64 for integration, right?
64.
They had to force Florida to integrate. They fought for 5 years. They only made it mandatory in 1970. I have that article.
It's worse than that.
I'm sorry?
It's worse than that. They had a commission come here and discover that Miami-Dade County was total isolation for Black people. And unfortunately, to this day, has not been addressed until the coming few years or the months, whatever it may be. But that you're absolutely correct. They never. I don't know about y'all area, but I know down here it's past Dade County. Totally abandoned.
Here's why this is so significant. They celebrate in my hometown, right? And I've studied this for the last 7 years. I have 7 years of data. And they've never, ever celebrated the Black education that was shut down. And I thought that was horrific when you look at, number one, the accomplishments of the Black community where I'm from, which my name goes back 100 years as of this year. My name goes back 100 years. So I know the history. And for them not to even, they don't celebrate this, Mr. Dry Bones, at all. The young people don't know that this was the last principle of the only Black institution in your hometown. They don't know this.
I can see. That's interesting to me because most of the Black people that was y'all one of the HBC states. You got Ethel Waters, you got Bethune-Cookman, you got FAM, you got all these Black colleges, and you would think and they come all the way up to your area. For those you don't know, everybody from Florida meets at Daytona for the Classic and stuff, and then they had the Battle of the Bands and everything. Now you would wonder why. Now, do you think that a Black group of elitists could be behind this? Because see, everybody think out the box. You think that because this can't just happen by white folks.
Well, here's the question I have. Here's the question I ask you then. And here's the research question. The research question is, why aren't Black people in that area or anywhere really, but especially in that area, why aren't they interested in studying their own history?
It's concealed, just like they wouldn't know that Bethune-Cookman, Mary Bethune, she was instrumental in a lot of this that we talk about today. She had a secret meeting with Roosevelt. She brought some of the 9 of the Boule elites, and they're the ones that came up with this plan that we under today. That's why the Black colleges are behind a lot of what's going on. First of all, it's hard to tell me, for instance, you in the technology. You would think that with all the TikTok and everything going on, Black folks would be more than happy to get involved with technology because they on the phones every goddamn day. I'm just gonna go dry bones. I'm not even gonna play with y'all. Big time is running up. I mean, yeah. So,
time running out.
I mean, if you on the phone, every day, playing with this all day long like it's a dick, and you telling me we ain't into technology? Please, we are the technology. I think we're automatons. That's the technical name. You said you into these names. We're automatons. We are actually transhumanists because our bodies cannot function no longer without that phone. I've seen grown women, grown men go berserk along with the kids if that phone get lost. So I think the technology is behind a lot of this social mayhem. In my opinion, that's my opinion. But I go by fact. Facts show that we are coexistent on the phone. That's the fact.
I can explain that, Mr.
But go ahead, but that's the facts. But you can explain the facts. That's fine. Just let everybody know those are the facts. Can't be disputed. They've been we do data all day long on our phones. So your phone is the database to the New World Order. That's why they know how we think, because they know. So
can I explain it? Can I explain it?
Go ahead. You the expert on that.
Before technology, I have a behavioral science degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
In technology. and data. So do you know what they call that? And I can expand whenever you want me to expand on it.
Go ahead. It's not my program. Go ahead. You go.
No, it's called psychometrics.
There you go.
It's psychometrics. And they manipulate your emotions to produce psychometrics. And there's a lot to be said about psychometrics and the correlation between that and consumerism. That.
Absolutely. I wouldn't even debate. That's a fact. But but what I do on our program is I'll show you the way they did it in the 60s. I put the guy on who said they used technologies called the Woodpecker program. Where the Woodpecker program.
Pull it up, D. Pull it up. We'll share it real quick.
I gotta look for it. I wasn't planning on it. Let me look for it. Let me look for it. But hey, I'll look for it on that. The next segment where he go to, it's called the Woodpecker. I'll look it up now. The Woodpecker was designed to go over your TV to give you the sounds that he just said to make the people be induced by what we always say on our program, man. Sound and light is sound and light is it.
Sound wave.
How they brainwash me and Professor?
Bro, Mark.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
How they brainwashed me and Professor back in our days? They used Woody Woodpecker to do the same sounds that was induced to us through the television by the scientists. So, yep. So that's how deep that goes. So you're right.
So you know what that's turned into now? It's called on that phone. It's called notifications.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for that part. So let me find it for y'all.
It's called notifications.
Bro Mark, welcome to the digital building.
Digital.
We got Bro Mark in the building. I think we got some lagging going on with you, Bro Mark.
Let me find that for you. Yes, go ahead, brother. Good. I'm looking now.
I know Bro Mark want to light it up. Hey D, what you got to say about Trump dropping all them hot executive orders, man? Trump say, listen, if you paying child support, nigga, you get to claim that thing. I heard you.
He said you get to claim that thing. I like that.
Hey, what they call it, earned income or whatever they call it. I mean, I raised all my kids, so I ain't have to go through too much baby mama drama. But fellas, look like Trump in y'all corner, man. Look like Trump is in y'all corner, fellas. Trump say, if you pay child support, she can't claim the child.
That's it.
Huh? Did I hear that right? I know Bro Mark got some info on that. Man, son, I got something in my eye, y'all. Excuse me real quick. But man, he dropping some, listen, man, they say the damn immigrants tripping over each other trying to get the hell up out of the paint. They trying to get out of America. Nah, they trying to scare all their ass up. Hey, but listen, man, I'm just pointing this stuff out, man, because see, this show you, man. Man, listen, who cares about Trump personality? I don't really care for his personality. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, this dude is a hell of a damn leader. And he leads with order, power and order. See, we want to hold on to order and dysfunction. Y'all know the last 4 years been chaos. Y'all know the last 4 years have been chaos. Am I right, D?
You absolutely right. Yeah, everybody gone? I'm looking for that.
No, they ain't there.
Okay.
They ain't there. I don't know. We might have lost.
I was gonna regress while I'm looking for that clip while they was talking. Because the brother, I seen my brother just came in there.
Yeah. Bro Mark, but I think we can hear you, Bro Mark. There you go. He done dropped again. He got that old janky ass signal, man. Damn.
He in Florida?
Yeah, he in Florida. There you go. He popped back in. Okay, I think we got him this time.
He in y'all part of Florida?
Yeah, he right here for the whole time. Hey, turn off anything that pull Wi-Fi. Turn it off. Turn off tell your old lady she got to turn off Tyler Perry for a minute.
That's a good one. I can't.
Man. Or like you do. I care.
You broke up a little bit. You broke up a little bit.
He leaves. Hey, I like about it. I like that. First day in all, he got $500 billion investments
Damn, boy, we chopped up, bro, Mark.
for $100 billion in the
You're
first
real
day.
choppy. You're real choppy.
I know, man. I'm gonna sit back and listen to y'all, man, because I'm going in.
Okay, now you're coming in. Now you're coming in. Now you're coming in.
Now he sound good. He sounded good there.
$500 billion.
Yeah.
$500 billion of investments. And
oh, we dropped him again. He dropped off again. Damn. Don't
worry, stuff, man. We gotta keep it rolling. Now let me see if I can show you this guy here. Okay, it ain't showing up. Okay, can you see that?
Okay, you gotta send me a share thing. You
Oh
gotta send me a
that's
share
right.
request. And then it'll pop up. You look down at the bottom of the screen and you can see the 3 dots. Mash the 3 dots.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you should be able to share. And it'll send me a request and then I'll get it. And then I'll let you in.
I ain't doing it then.
Are you on your phone?
I ain't do the phone. No way. Don't do the phone, man. We really be messed up.
You hit the 3 dots at the bottom of the screen. See down where your microphone and your camera and your video is. Hit the 3 dots and then click share screen. The third one down should be.
I'm looking now. It should say the share screen plus. Yeah, there we go. Share screen. Yeah.
Don't you love technology?
This ain't doing it. It's not letting me go to my. Let me see something.
Should. Because Professor been sharing his screen.
It's going to my email. It ain't going to the picture I want. It's going.
Okay, hold on. I think I just got it. Hold on. No, that was Bro Mark came back in.
Go ahead. Y'all keep talking. I'll get it together as soon as it's saying Windows. No, I can look at y'all. I can see my thing, but I don't want. It's making me go not to the picture. I want only the picture to be seen.
So if you only have one screen, when you hit share, then you won't be able to see yourself on the screen anymore while you're sharing that that thing. So when you hit the share, like hit share screen, then it'll pull up all your tabs that you have open. Then you go to that specific tab of what you're trying to show us, and then it'll pop up on over here.
They ain't doing that. Go ahead, y'all keep going. Don't let me delay y'all. Just keep it rolling.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Professor.
Professor was talking. Keep talking.
Let me say this much. I specialized in distant learning for many years. I started distant learning in the late 90s, right? And to see
what kind of learning?
Distant learning. What we're doing right now. We as black men, if you want a little history, you always like me to do history, Dr. Juice.
No.
We were not learning like this.
Take that out. Go ahead. Yeah, that's not what I want.
Okay. We were not learning like this. We were not teaching each other like this. We were in the barbershop.
Right.
We were in the barbershop on Saturday. But now, because of technology, not only can we have a conversation with each other, we can share it to hundreds of people that look at you, Dr. Juice. So, this is a very exciting time for me to witness black men educating themselves from a distant learning perspective. We can be anywhere. I'm going to soon be traveling, but that's not going to limit me from having these kind of sessions. Sometime, depending on where I am. Might have happens if I'm in Brazil.
Now, can you get the people that's there to join in on sessions? Wouldn't that be good to get the people that you go to?
Anybody that has internet connection, that's what
That's it. I mean, the
all
people
about
that you
it.
go to, they, and then we need young people too right now. I swear. I was telling Brother Juice that the young people got to be involved because they're the next phase of the technology of what's going on, and before you know it, a lot of this could be done, like you say, virtual. Well, you could put the Google glasses on and have a virtual reality. The virtual reality could be you put the what's them glasses called again? My kid, I went to a virtual cafe up in New York. It was like I was in a twilight. It was everything I looked at was right there. So if you do the virtual, what you said, a virtual museum, you
Well,
don't need a physical building. No,
it's
you don't need
virtual
a physical
reality.
building.
It's
Yeah,
virtual
yeah,
reality.
right. You don't need it. You don't even need the building. You can make
So,
that yourself now. You can do that yourself.
so here's my question, Mr. Drybone. Then if we're aware of all of this technology, right, and the capability that it has to teach, why aren't we teaching ourselves?
We are. We are, because we wouldn't be talking to you right now if we wasn't teaching ourselves.
No, what I'm saying, no, I'm talking about in a broader sense than that. I'm talking about our children. You had mentioned our children.
Well,
When
our children way ahead of us. They're ahead of us.
No, the data say they can't. In my county, half of them can't read.
They don't want to. They don't need to read because we have made it where the phone is their new guide. All they do is they put in. I've seen kids put in. Little kids is now on the thing. Their parents have brought them these little laptops for little babies now. I went to a baby shower. They had little kids with the thing. I said, man, teaching them their ABCs now. I said, you ain't gonna need teachers. See, AI is becoming where they're gonna get rid of because our kids, this generation that we produced, are going to be the ones that's going to be totally autonomous. Because me and you still got variable fights in our minds about the whole thing. But the kids that are coming are going to be way advanced. They're going to be the ones playing. They already about to watch people. You don't have to go to football games no more. I could put the glasses on and pick the seat, and I could watch the game as long as I pay that tab.
But here's and I agree with you, but I want to just slightly argue. They still need the wisdom to do that. And I'll tell you a short story.
I agree with that.
I'll tell you a short story behind that. I remember when my daughter first got exposed to avatars. Okay. And I had the ability, because I'm cybersecurity, I had the ability to audit what she was doing. So the avatar that she had, I said, oh, okay, so you're gonna be a digital hoe? That's what we're doing now in the digital world. So what I'm saying is, I was able to look at her activities and give that wisdom to her. Just because you're avatar, you're still a hoe in your mind if you're doing that. Is that what you really want to be? So you understand? So as a parent, I was able to redirect her with wisdom and give her a standard, give her some guidance. And I believe that in the political environment that we're living in, where people are telling our children, you can be whatever you want to be, I don't subscribe to that because that's not my orientation.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I would never disagree with that but then again, television, technology, because we watched the movie Avatar, and we were telling people back then people are gonna be avatars. They were laughing. Now, all through Facebook, they're avatars. So I mean, I just laugh at that because maybe I don't have the prolific knowing how to put, but I've been around technology because all my life, everybody wanted to be Star Trek. And because of sci-fi, I started, that's why I say history has a lot to do with this, because if you watch sci-fi and you look at science, you love all this stuff, what you see in Star Trek is what we're doing now. So basically, Star Trek, I was in the 60s. I'm going back to the civil rights thing, because remember Dr. King told Lieutenant Aurora that they needed her to be on TV on them Sunday nights, when Star Trek came on. They needed that. So we see that the history of technology has been around us most of our life. The Jetsons, watching the Jetsons, robots.
But here's the concern that I have.
So you could see the gradualism of the trend, the gradualism of the technology. Because you just said we was young, and did you not watch? You watched those Johnny Quest,
right? But here's the question I have, Mr. Drybone. And I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, but I want to point at the problem that we have. In order for that to work for us, we got to have governance. None of this is going to work unless you have some sort of governance, unless you have some sort of standard. And,
what government do you want?
No, governance. Not, in other words, self-discipline.
Somebody got to give it. Because you might be a Christian, I'm not. That I'm gonna take your governance over my belief system, or is it gonna be? No, I'm just looking at the generalization. Because
no, that's not where he's going.
People,
that's not where he's going.
No, I'm not saying where you're going. I'm saying that our people. We on our program. I don't usually talk about us. I talk about what we doing too. But I say most people in different states think different. You here. If I go to Georgia, they think different than here. So people think they hustlers there because they got a lot of technical. People do so much. You know how many Nigerians is in Atlanta, Georgia, that know the cyber game so good. They hustling. They hustling with it, so it can be used for good and evil at the same time. But he said governance. He said governance. Tell me what he's saying. Oh, I can't even hear you good. Yeah, I can't hear him. I can't hear him good. He sound good.
Breaking up real bad, bro, Mark. Breaking up real
bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish he could hear, because I wanted to hear his version on what he's saying. I can't hear him.
You're breaking up real bad, bro, Mark. Do you have any Wi-Fi? If you have some Wi-Fi, get on some Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because I hear you, but God, no. Yeah, he doing. He happens. It
sound like you're chopping up some game, but we can't hear you, bro. Mark.
Yeah, that's why, because he either not on the internet or something. Is he on the internet or the phone? I mean, the phone is internet. So what?
I don't know. I think he might have been.
It happens though. It happens on different signals because it happens on us.
Yeah.
So hopefully, get it. Now, but go ahead.
Yeah,
no, you say governance. Go ahead. Finish what you're saying, because I'm trying to figure out when you say governance, us give us a morality. You say the morality to the.
Right. Here's what I'll make a real simple example. No matter what technology, no matter Star Trek, whatever, if you and I as black men, if we don't have any integrity toward each other, or respect toward each other, or honor toward each other, technology is going to, I don't care what kind of technology, our transaction as black men, it ain't going to happen. So when I talk about standards, Dr. Juice talked about being on code. We were that way during segregation. We had to be that way.
Yeah, we said that earlier. So
what I'm saying, I'm just separating technology from that, because what I'm saying is, if that has to be the foundation, and if we don't have that, there's no AI, there's no agent. In fact, it's going to work against us because of what we call learning model, machine learning. That machine going to learn that, hey, Dr. Dry Bones and Professor, they don't get along. So the algorithm is going to enhance that.
The algorithm in reality is that we don't get along, because I never, the algorithms already know what you're thinking. You can't lie to that. So you can lie to me, but you can't lie to that algorithm, because it knows what you look at.
That's that agentic.
It knows what you look at.
So you can lie to the algorithm. It only knows what you insert into it.
Your brain.
That's just like if I move to a new city, the new city is my algorithm. If I move to a new city, they only know about me what I tell them and what I show them. But when I'm home, everybody have more information on me. So if I input certain information into that algorithm, that's all that algorithm knows. So it don't automatically know what I'm thinking. It knows what I'm thinking from the inputs that I give.
Yeah, earlier we were mentioning. I'm gonna catch you up. Earlier we were talking about that what you saying earlier about. We talking about now that you use your phone because your phone, your TV, all the technology that's around you, and now they're putting out this thing called, since we go on technology, the array of things where the machinery will be able to know your every thought pattern, basically, based on your movements. They're watching you, so you can't escape it. You might say you lying to it, but you ain't, because your credit score gonna tell you you ain't gonna be lying soon. So whatever you believe you lying about, you really not, because you feed the algorithm or whatever y'all want to call it technically. You feed it. So since we got that level that we talk about technology, I was just taking it to another level because it's a whole bunch of stuff monitoring you right now. Do you know that?
Can I give you the name for that, Mr. Drybones?
I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of that. That's why you don't see me with Wi-Fi or any of that. The closest thing you see me with is this phone, and it's not with me all the time.
They know regardless of the phone. I just said they have a thing called the array of things. They're gonna put it out in your antenna systems. You could don't watch no TV, doesn't make a difference. And you walk the streets, don't you? You drive a car, don't you?
No.
Your car, you don't drive a car?
Yeah, I drive a car, but
They know
I don't
exactly
walk the streets.
No, I'm just saying, when I say go to store, when you go to see, when you do
saying
walk
navigate,
the street,
he's saying like navigate around,
navigate,
move around.
Bro, I understand what you're saying. I understand all that. Trust me. I understand all that.
It's monitoring you. So if he's saying that it takes modern governance, he's right. What he's saying is technology could be used for good or evil, and because it's going rampant right now, we are the people who can probably direct it into a governance path by our doing. But I think black people today, like brothers, we are kind of like narcissists. If I monitor everybody's conversation, and we don't really talk about how we could put more money together. We talk about what we could do, but if you want to put money together and stuff like that, then we have to have a diligence, say this some land, this is this, and make it legal. Do the work that y'all say we supposed to be doing there, because that both black people fall short of that. They won't go all the way through. They'll sit there and talk, but if we say let's go to bank tomorrow, all of us, and let's sit down, that's when you know you for real. That's how I'm dealing with people.
Hey, drive on. Now this brother right here, bro, Mark. Hey,
that's how I deal with people for real.
He all out there. This man be all in Mexico buying up, looking at land. So hey,
I'm glad for that.
Hey, but see, that's why we in this circle, man. This is a great.
Right. I'm saying we're doing individual. Yeah. We have to become a group, a corporation, incorporate. I can go buy land right now, but that ain't gonna help him if I'm buying land. We talking about each other going together. That's why I say I call it the dry bones. Individually, I can go get some land right now, but I mean, do I really go say what that gonna prove to be for the condition of our mindset of people?
Yeah,
it ain't gonna.
Well, see, we can do that all day too.
Yeah.
But unless see. One thing you got to understand the thought pattern of your people, too. If you understand the thought pattern of your people, first of all, we being trained not to trust each other. You look at every show on TV, you look at everything that's going into our heads. You want to talk about algorithm? We're being trained not to trust each other, so we can chop each other head off. So if I understand my people and the way they think, you're right. I am going to go buy that land by myself. You know why? Because I can then pull people in, and then they can pay for where they're coming into that land at. So they can have a piece of that land that I've already secured. Now if I didn't have it and I waited until Brother Juice know what I'm talking about, right here in Central Florida, found a beautiful area, and I tried to get some people together, and that syndrome happened. We lost out on all that acreage, and now that same acreage selling for like $20,000, $30,000 an acre, and we could have got in for a little over 100. So I can't wait no more. Only thing I got to do is go get it, and then I can pull people in that's like mindset. And that way, because I understand my people. So, but if I wait until I get a group, you know how long it takes to get a group? You know you got one. So,
well, I'm with.
I can't wait.
I don't blame you, bro. I'm with you 100. 100%.
So
that's why I say.
So once you secure it, then you pull the people in.
I can hear you now.
You just pull your people
that's
in,
the key.
and now you got that like-minded community with that land, and we all pitched in. It's just I went on the security first. So, but we can't get away from all of these cameras and whatnot that's up and about, these satellites, all that. And in order to get away from it, it's a very difficult task. I understand that. But
I want to give you a quick. I want to give you a quick term. It's called digital. It's called digital footprint.
Correct.
Yes.
It's called every fingerprint. It's a digital footprint. Is what I want to tell you. It's everybody has a digital footprint. Period.
And it's up to you how big your footprint is too. And if you run around and register for all these discounts and register for this, that, and the other, and you do all this stuff online and everywhere else, you will have a huge footprint. And some people don't have a big footprint or don't have one at all. But usually you connect it when you don't have one at all. But the people...
I was just getting ready to say that. If you got none at all, you are Jeffrey Epstein type people. You're
doing some espionage.
But
it's up to you how big your footprint's gonna be.
Now you go global.
And it takes a lot of thought.
Black people are too dependent on the system.
I missed that by global.
Black people are not too dependent on not to have. We have a very big footprint because we're dependent on the system. You have very big black people. You can't live off the grid. You're too dependent on the system.
That's my point. That's why I try to keep it real. It's gonna be the people who would get it. It'll be a remnant. Like the brother, what you just said. If I don't know if how your Bible thoughts are, but I just use the Bible for it because I know it has some jewels of things. But it's a remnant. It's never been about the
wisdom.
Wisdom. Yeah, right. Because it's a remnant of people. It's not dealing with a bunch. That's why I said when you said get a small circle, that's where I'm at in a lot of ways. It's the same thing. And again, people shouldn't be ashamed, like you said, with the technology. You can't get a conversation with our people about economics because as soon as you say credit score, they get mad. Or they want, why you want, because you got to use the credit scores to get to be able to leverage whatever you're going to buy, because they ain't going to just give it to you unless you already got abundance of money. So we just played a tape. You didn't hear that, brother Mark. We played about King saying, but are we behind the 8 ball? Because if King said this 1964, now I'm just want to stay on premise of his program. If King said all this, and we talking about technology now, but if King said that they gave these people a heads up, tax exemption, land, then we are coming behind kind of like the 8 ball of things in a lot of ways. So my thing is, how do we use the technology that brother said? We got to keep these type of programs going. Talk, like you said, we hardly ever talk like this. We analyze in all aspects today of our lives, just on this small panel right here. So that shows you how powerful it is. It just ain't. It may not be seen the way we want it to be, but I think it's a good start, especially in Central Florida, man. And Juice, you got to admit, me and you tried to put something together with a group. Y'all got so much cheap land back in the day. It was unbelievable how cheap that y'all land was. It was unbelievable. And we had what happened to the lodge thing? They let that go, didn't they?
They let it go, but they tried to salvage it with another group in another session in another WM.
Yep. And that's what happened.
It was too vague.
I think power in our minds is seductive, too seductive. You give a brother, and I experienced this firsthand, and y'all can agree, tell me how y'all feel about it. But sometimes you are happy for our people. I'll be happy for any of y'all on this line to get to where y'all want, because just maybe y'all will try to do to help some people out. They don't have to be me because you don't know me that good, but just the fact that you could help people is another avenue, like of just doing what we need to do. But when it comes down to getting your area together, it take a mobilized group of people, man, to go out there. And technology is the only way to get them now. We can't go door to door; it's kind of gone. So they won't look, because you can't even get on our property here. It's gated. So you ain't gonna be able to come up to our door at all. So we lost that community movement thing. I don't know in your area, but I know over here we lost it. When I got here, we used to go out, march door to door, all kind of stuff. It's lost because now the kids won't even and that's why I say maybe we have to deal with the young people more so now than ever, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Because we like the juice for them for the next generation. Like you said, you don't want your daughter to be doing what you're saying to do. I don't blame you, because my kids and Juice know what I'm talking about. My daughters they up there as well, like you, Doc. So I understand where you're coming from. You got to be very careful with technology. Very careful with technology. They'll kill you. They'll kill you for that. Some people. For your we don't have people get killed in Buffalo who had a car that ran by water. He was the one who got shot at the grocery store. They didn't tell you that. They didn't tell you that the apprentice program where they do the bid, they paid for his funeral. He actually was on that show to show he made a car out of water to go through water. Another guy I know doing that too. I said I wouldn't tell that no more, man, because he said he could take a black guy. I mean, I think he might be in your area. He's taking what was the plant? Plastic. He was using plastic and making gasoline out of plastic.
Yeah.
Now that's some genius. That's we got geniuses, but we ain't got the money to put those geniuses out.
Yeah, but like you say, kill them off.
They killed him.
They killed him off. Like you said,
I experienced it firsthand.
I made a hydrogen rate. I made hydrogen 300 put down at my ship.
He breaking up bad, huh?
I know, man. He's saying some good stuff too, man.
Yeah, he's saying some good stuff.
Oh man, no. But can you hear me?
We can't hear you, bro, man.
Nah, man.
All right,
doing
man.
Good. Then I was doing good. Then it went
out. You was good 1 minute. You
Yeah.
was good 1 minute. Then now you gone.
Yeah, you gone, man. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Hey, we're gonna finish playing this real quick. Dry Bones, I want you to chime in on this video for us real quick.
I want the professor to take us to one of the countries, because we got to get.
Yeah, he gonna take us.
We got to get some allies, man. We need some foreign allies.
We're gonna let Professor finish it up for us.
Principles that she would pass down to her children are the foundation for the historic legacy created by her second-born, Martin Luther King Jr. Mrs. King's life was deeply rooted in her faith and activism. Her father, husband, and both of her sons were all ministers at Ebenezer, where she played an integral role until she retired in 1972. The King matriarch would often return to lead the church in song. Ironically, Ebenezer Baptist Church, just a few blocks away from where her son Martin was buried 6 years prior, was where Mrs. Alberta Williams King took her last breath. Her death was classified as an assassination. The man who carried out the heinous act was 23-year-old Marcus Wayne Chenault. Born on June 30th, 1951 in Winchester, Kentucky, Marcus Wayne was described as a quiet child who read a lot. He was raised by his parents, Marcus H. and Hinda Lee Chenault. They were God-fearing and lived comfortably. That was until they moved to Dayton, Ohio, when Marcus, often called Wayne by his family, was a teenager. Hinda Lee, who was deeply religious, recalled to Washington Post. Up until 1967, he seemed to enjoy the church, but later he became a bit confused and started asking questions about different things in the Bible. As a student in high school, Chenault excelled academically. A school officer at Dayton Roth High School told Jet magazine, "He just went from homeroom to class. I never had any trouble with him. He was as good as gold." In 1969, Marcus was accepted into Ohio State University, and it was during his college matriculation that his demeanor began to change. Although he was still described as quiet and studious by his professors and peers, it was during this time that he began to reassess his traditional Christian values. Leon Vaughn, one of Chenault's Ohio State classmates, told Jet magazine, "Marcus was a really beautiful cat. He interpreted things to me like the Bible and the Star of David. The main thing he would say is that religion isn't for real because people couldn't be charged for the truth. He resented preachers riding around in Cadillacs. He said that parts of the New Testament were false and that King James stole literature from blacks and didn't give them any credit. He said King James was a Caucasian who based his interpretations on America's standards." His newfound religious ideals came from the teachings of his mentor, Hananiah Israel of Cincinnati. Hananiah, a spiritual teacher whose legal name is Stephen Hallman, spread messages from what he called a form of Judaism. Chenault met Hananiah about 8 months before the incident after seeing his advertisement titled "What Every Negro Should Know About Scripture" in a magazine. Israel began instructing him in the Bible during meetings in which Chenault took lots of notes and often invited friends. Hananiah criticized black civil rights activists and church leaders as evil and deceptive. In his teachings, he wrote, "When you stop those lying preachers from deceiving you and your loved ones, from robbing them of millions of dollars a year, you will have a better economy." He also taught that black civil rights leaders were leading black people to doom. He told Dayton Daily News, "White men are being used by the Most High as a correcting rod, but God is going to do away with white people and free my people. When black people are freed, they will be the masters and whites will be the slaves. Until then, blacks should remain slaves to white men because that is the role God has assigned to them." Although Israelites insisted that he did not advocate for violence, he taught that only the death of black ministers would free black people. He told Dayton Daily, "I gave Marcus the key to understanding the scriptures. He awakened from the death of sleep, from the grave of ignorance." Hananiah and Marcus, along with other young men who followed his teachings, were labeled by some as Black Hebrew Israelites, a religion of black people who believe that they are the descendants of the ancient Israelites. They incorporate teachings from various sources, including certain aspects of Christianity and Judaism, and have created their own interpretation of the Bible. They are not associated with the mainstream Jewish community nor mainstream Christianity. Chenault and Israel assert that they did not belong to any organized group or following. Although Marcus Wayne recruited a number of young men from Ohio State and the surrounding areas to begin following his teachings, other classmates thought his religious talk was off-putting. "We always thought he was a little weird, but there were a lot of weirdos on campus," Carol Peters told New York Times. She recalled having lunch with Chenault on occasion, but eventually began to avoid him. She said that he would get high and talk about the Bible at parties, and a party was no place to talk about the Bible.
What was that, Judy?
Now, I was gonna say you might want to speed up to the mother because it's like the middle part of
Yeah.
But he did, and people were turned off by it. By his junior year, Marcus dropped out of college and began to focus on religion. He adapted a head honcho persona. His neighbors took note of the change, accompanied by him shouting obscenities and Muhammad Ali type
There you
lines
go.
out of his apartment window while blasting soul music. He wrote, "General Chenault with 4 stars on his mailbox and Servant Jacob on his apartment door." His antics led him to being arrested for disorderly conduct, which seemed to have pleased him. Chenault's neighbor, Richard Keish, recalled as a group of people who gathered for the spectacle that Chenault came out with his hands up saying things like, "No comment," putting his hands on the car to be searched even though no one asked him to. Keish also shared with Jet magazine that Chenault told him that he would soon be all over the newspapers and that he was going to Atlanta to
Jet magazine, Atlanta.
meet destiny. On Friday, June 28, 1974, Marcus Wayne Chenault returned home for what seemed to be
It kind of looked like Al B. Sure a little bit.
routine visit. According to Marcus
said
Sr.,
LB
Wayne
sure.
seemed as normal as ever. That night, Marcus stole 2 pistols from his
That'd be
father's
crazy.
bedroom. The next day, he bought a bus ticket to Atlanta, Georgia.
absolutely.
After
Right.
a 12-hour trip, Wayne had made it to his destination, where, according to a taxi cab driver's testimony, he was picked up from the bus station and asked to be taken to Ebenezer Baptist Church. On the way, he asked the driver if Mr. and Mrs. King attended the church every Sunday. Later that morning, after being picked up from a motel, Marcus was taken back to the church. He was invited to attend men's Bible study. Marcus introduced himself and said he was from Ohio. According to witness testimony, once the service began, he was seen sitting in the amen corner of the pews, which is normally reserved for the most devout worshipers. Mrs. King finished playing the Lord's Prayer on the organ, and as the congregation bowed their heads in prayer, they heard Marcus shout, "I'm taking over here this morning." They looked up to find him standing on the pew holding a gun. His first shot struck Mrs. King in the head and she fell over the organ. "It seemed like I was watching a scene from a bad movie play out," Christine King Ferris, Alberta's daughter, would recall in her 2009 memoir, Through It All. Marcus fired every round in his gun. He stood over Mrs. King and shot her again. He shot a deacon, Edward Boykin, and a church member, Jimmy Mitchell. Mrs. King's grandson, Derek, who said he helped to subdue the gunman as he tried to reload a pistol, told The Guardian. He was delirious. He said over and over, "The war did this to me." It's
wow.
Now, this is what I said on Sunday, because the program was based off Dr. King and them, and we played a few things on that. But I don't know if y'all knew about that. I don't know. I don't know if y'all knew that his family was touched by that. But you just think about today. You see the same similarities that has happened from. It's like the same similar. Now we little kids again. That's 60. That's not even that long. We little kids. I don't know if it was big fanfare at that time, but when I found out, because that group that boy was in '67, I ended up joining a similar group in the late '80s. So that was in Miami. So it's the same kind of construct.
What was the leader's
Yahweh
name?
Ben Yahweh.
Oh, Yahweh Ben
Yahweh
Yahweh down in
Yep.
Miami.
Yep, that's how I got here. That's how I got here.
Yeah, and then they locked
him up on RICO statutes. I was there. I was there for. I would never been to Florida whatsoever. Wasn't for that. But yeah.
But this guy, bro,
same concept.
This guy.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. This guy. No, go.
Yeah, you know, these people are set up. These people are set up by the FBI and the CIA in order to do it.
Exactly.
And remember, when they get an enemy of the state, they usually either get that person, the mother and the child, or they get the parent and that person.
That's right.
Or that person and the child.
That's right. And
so that was all the same thing. That was a CIA operation. You know,
that's what we did on Sunday. We let people know that just what you just said, but it was a lot of chatter through the whole thing. But you hit it on no. But don't you see the parallels of every church has had this happen to them? It's either a military person, highly known, who they have brainwashed. That's why we call it MLK Ultra. That they use mind control to get people to do these things, and it's been going on. It's going to continue as it is right now. So that's why I tell people, the civil rights movement and Atlanta, Georgia. We said it earlier. You wasn't on the line then, but Georgia is a hotbed. Remember, the Georgia Guidestones was just there, and they blew up. Remember, they blew the Georgia Guidestones up just not too long ago.
A few years ago, around the pandemic.
Anybody try to find the people? And these are gigantic stones that they blew up. No, and they had the whole thing of the earth. I went to it to see it. Unbelievable. And you think about this is what I say, we being set up through what
it's like the Stonehenge of America.
It's a psyop.
And we have to look through a lot of this stuff, and that's something I love about you, Dry Bones. A lot of this stuff is a lot deeper than this surface mess that they expose us to.
That's right.
And that's just like, you got Martin Luther King Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how many people actually know that the government was already, that they've been proven to be the ones that killed Dr. Martin Luther King in court?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with y'all. But see, we have to teach our young people. See, look how long it took for us. And me and Professor were just talking about the age group that we being born in. And look at it. I mean, he born in it. He see right through it, but he took the technology, because I'm glad of that, because I'll tell you, the forensics and all the technology now, man, they so advanced now. It's almost frightening. So when Trump said he was going to open up the JFK thing, I said to myself, that's going to be interesting to see if he can manage that. That'll be interesting.
Bro, Trump is like a white Dick Gregory.
Yeah.
He got the money, and he find out all the information on so much stuff. And then when he talk about certain things, people think he crazy. And that's the same thing. That's how Dick Gregory was.
Now, Dick Gregory, who I had a conversation, I met with through Ray Fauntleroy. He's coming to show. Dick Gregory got a very strange relationship. I mean, I think we should really but then you got to look at some things Malcolm X say about Dick Gregory, which I don't have on hand. But think about it. Dick Gregory used to hang at the Playboy Mansion on a regular. The only reason why they never touched Dick Gregory never tried to buy any NBC or anything of the corporate thing. He mainly stayed in his lane, but he knew a lot, man. That man, I did a whole research on Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory also got caught up in the Bahamian diet. A chick tried to sue him. You remember that?
Yep.
So I look at every
Dick Gregory's Bahamian diet.
So
yep.
So I remember a lot of stuff about getting older and saying, been around some people who was around the people, and I said, man, that's deep how he was able to say everything, never got touched, because he didn't do what Bill Cosby did. See, Bill Cosby was never got touched either. He did a P. Diddy. He wanted to fight NBC, and then P. Diddy wanted to fight the liquor company out of Europe. And they could care less.
And the other thing,
and Bill wouldn't keep that anaconda out them white girls either.
well,
that what really make the white boy mad when you be busting them up.
I don't think that was the problem. I think the problem was the fact that he wanted to utilize his money to guide black people into a better future.
Yeah,
and he wanted to try to buy. He wanted to buy NBC so he can basically create a BET type.
That's what we just said. But I'm just reiterating. You're right.
And that like Drybone said will not be tolerated at all.
Not be tolerated. That's it.
Now, and here's something else, guys.
He tried.
You notice when you have somebody. When you have somebody who's not as easily touched, who stay away from, who has security, that type thing. I'll use Michael Jackson as an example, okay? And people like Prince, people like Khalid Muhammad. When they want to get you, they can get you.
I met Khalid
they end
Muhammad,
up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They end up using microwave weapons.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that person end up with a heart attack or something internal happening.
Ain't that technology though? That's like James Bond stuff. That's like and they have mastered it. Yes.
If you read the King Alfred plan, they was talking about it in the 70s. Yes. That this was gonna be. So, yep. And when we see them building all these big industrial complexes, nobody ever say where all these products going, because we don't have that many products in them industrial complexes. They were gonna use like big box stores to house the people, but we got too many people. So now they building these big industrial complexes everywhere so your butt can be housed, or we'll say your grandkids can be housed. So everybody would really learn a lot if you just read two things: King Alfred Plan by wonderful Mr. Jimmy Carter and Zbigniew Brzezinski, and also Behold the Pale Horse.
William Cooper. That's my boy there.
Yes.
That's my boy there.
Yes.
Now, William Cooper, since you brought that up.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is how I know our people has been diverted to other thinking. Now, here's a guy who was in the military, another military person, decorated military.
Yep.
He's seen, supposedly in his memoirs, he's seen something come out the water during a military thing that should not have been able to do based off aerodynamics. And they were told not to talk about it. And he didn't for a long time. He never talked about it until he got to that. But he told everything. And blacks, you can't blame blacks, because blacks wasn't even into him. Blacks didn't get into it until the book Behold the Pale Horse came out. prior to that, he'd been doing it was called Of the Hour. He did a radio show just like we doing. Just like we doing now. He had a radio show, but it was shortwave radio. So he said earlier, brother, professor said that we doing things now different, the same way a barbershop, but we gonna take the barbershop now, and this is what we doing now. Like this is like the new barbershop. So I see how he did it. William Cooper did the same thing. He had them white people listening to him, military and everything. Now there's some good people out here. There's some good military people. I met some good people, white, black, whatever, and they see it too. What you just said. That's why I say when we get the new platform, I want all y'all to come on, and especially we're gonna do a show with Professor, brother out of Ohio. Juice know what I'm talking about. He is a damn good inventor, and we're gonna do an innovative show on that because I think we got to use the technology now. You can't hide from it. It's like you can't hide from it. He told it. He said, "Don't believe this," and he was right. William Cooper was on point, bro.
And what I was telling you guys earlier, since I got a better spot, I created me a hydrogen generator. I created several of them, and I had one on my semi truck. I had one on my Chevy 1500, and had one on my Chrysler 300C because it had that Hemi and it hogged up gas. But but you think I was gonna run around and try to showcase it so I can get a bullet in my head? Everybody that do that end up missing or dead. And that's been happening for years in America because you're dealing with the big three. And they got more henchmen out there than a little bit.
Yeah, they look for people who are industrious. But you know what? Still keep your plans. You should. I don't know how you did it, but if you got your layouts, because things may be changed. Don't let them ever give up. Because right now we're in the age of and just for y'all, because we talk about numbers. That guy was from Ohio. Remember, we do predictions from the occult world. Did we not say Ohio State? That day I said, yeah, listen to where he come from. I said, Ohio State through the pro. They do with numbers. It's called gematria. I'm sure y'all, brother, I don't know if y'all heard of gematria, but it's magic with numbers. And they doing a lot of this, man. We got coming up on the 25th, if I forget. They got all the processions of the planets. January 25th, all the planets will be in alignment. All of them. The only ones, two you will not be able to see. Of course, that is Neptune and what's the other one? The last one out there, Pluto, whatever the hell is. Which one is? Yeah, the last two ones you ain't gonna see. Pluto, but all the rest of them, you know what they saying? We're gonna have phenomena, just like your boy William Cooper said. They're gonna use a lot of energy that day. And Professor, what you think about the blockchain? Because that's how this thing's working. What's your thoughts on blockchain?
Well, we're going through an evolution like everything else. One of the things that I'm researching now is crypto crime and all the things associated with that from a law enforcement perspective. So, like everything else, here's the question: do you still use a pager?
You mean the old style? The old style, no. But I'm on my phone's a pager, I guess.
No, but I'm saying the pager like you used to have. Do you still use a pager?
No, I don't have one. No.
Right. So what I'm saying is, blockchain, as you understand it right now, is going to be different real soon. So, technology is an evolution, and one of the research interests that you might be interested in, I look at how we've reacted to technology since slavery. I have many use cases that I talk about. The old black farmer with the mule in the wagon versus the tractor. He didn't feel comfortable with the tractor because he was used to talking to his mule. And then when we got the radio, the old black farmer, he didn't trust talking to a man in a box. He wanted to look the man in the eye. So I have case studies in terms of when groundbreaking technology came out. The radio, it was a powerful tool during World War II. So here we are again with AI. And, I've done a bit of research in terms of how have we reacted to technology. Technology, think about it. They came out with a cotton gin. We went from manually picking cotton until the cotton's in. So we've always been impacted by the evolution of technology.
We created that too,
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
way.
we sure did. Yeah. Well, let me ask you one thing before I go, Professor, because I'm sure I always think of ways can you come up with you said you do cybersecurity. Can you come up with a class that we can all get like a certification and you charge, whatever you charge, say for instance, you give a 5-day course or some course or whatever, how it is, because I do know, I look up jobs for you people, and cybersecurity is the number one thing that's all through Dade County. Cybersecurity. And then, of course, you being, can you come up with something that we can maybe get even a certification?
Right. So when Trump building, when they putting together all these things and building all these,
I'll
big
pay.
projects,
you tell me the price.
We can get in on it.
Hey, homeschool projects. Y'all heard about that,
I heard
right?
about homeschooling. Now, since you got the credentials, because I ain't got no college degree in that, you got all that. If you could get us to say, look, I'm certified already, I can go off course, and then we'll charge $150, whatever the case may be, to get everybody to come on.
Indulge me for 3 minutes. Keep me on task, Dr. Juice. And I won't put you on a quiz. Let me tell you a story again. The gold rush, when the gold rush went dead, okay? Everybody rushed for the gold rush. The gold rush, and I think I might have had this conversation before. When the gold rush died, there was no more gold. The business that made money after the gold rush went bust was the people who were selling the supplies, the picks, the shovels to the people who they thought that there was still gold. Cybersecurity.
All right, y'all there?
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know what happened. D gone down. I don't know what happened. It
did a count. So
it just
on my end,
out.
it did a countdown. I
don't know what
it did a 30-second countdown. I'm looking at it on my other monitor, but it did a 30-second countdown. See, I'm looking.
What was that?
Like,
and we lost Bro Mark, and we lost D.
And
we lost.
Well, I'm trying to see if you're still live. It says live, but
yeah, we still live.
Yeah,
we still live.
It did. That was very interesting. What happened on my end?
I don't know. That might be that AI, man. We might be so heavy in that AI, man.
Ain't no telling, but
that was interesting.
I'm looking at it because I have a delayed monitor, so I'm looking at it to see. See, it's going blank. It went blank, and now here we are.
Damn, we lost D too, but
so
that's
we're
good.
still live. So
go ahead, finish your sentence.
So what I was saying about cybersecurity, Dr. Juice, is that the thing, I'm old school. I was in cybersecurity in 1999. So for a while, cybersecurity was a manual process. They got AI doing cybersecurity, man. AI is a threat hunter. You got to go another level in terms of a skill set. We talk about cybersecurity. That's where data analytics come in at. Am I making sense?
Making plenty sense.
So cybersecurity, in other words, you said, well, what do you mean by manual, Professor? So when there's a process that you call threat analysis. okay, where you're doing threat analysis. And that was a time where threat analysis was a manual process. How do you analyze threats? Well, you have all these devices on the network. You know, you got computers, you have routers, you have switches, you have all of these devices. And all of these devices have log files. Well, back in the day, we would have to physically, manually look through those log files for a threat. You got AI to do that.
Prolific Sports presents its
AI does that. So anything that was manual, AI was doing. I mean, well, AI can do it now, be digitized. So when they talk about, you know, upskilling your skills, we're at a whole nother different level. And I think that that's what a lot of your audience don't understand, Dr. Juice. They don't understand what's about to happen. See, here's what's about to happen. Like I told you before, AI is going to expose any incompetence that you have. You ask, well, why you say that, Professor? Because now they can monitor your behavior and your job performance, more importantly, like never before. They know your key with all the surveillance and detection and traction systems that they have. They can monitor you closely now. So, so when you hear Trump talk about merit-based, I don't know if you've been listening. See, well, why you listen to Trump? Because you better understand the game has changed. The game is, and the game has completely changed. So when they talk about eliminating DEI, I support that. And the reason why I support eliminating DEI, because it was weaponized against black men. DEI was weaponized against black men. Black men did not profit from DEI. Okay. So I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with it going away. So when they talk about you're going to be judged on your merits, that's going to be convoluting, but it's different. And I can explain that. If we think about it as a people, Dr. Juice,
yes, sir.
We've won these folks' war. We've done things like these folks have never seen before. And they know that if we had the same opportunities, the same playing field, we would win each and every time. In fact, the reason why the KKK and the Klan and all of this stuff came about is simply white jealousy. In spite of all of the things that they did, we still won. We were winning. We were winning during segregation. We had more black banks. We had black banks in the 30s. So my point is,
sir.
So my point is, when they talk about merit is not going to be fair, but you're going to have to be able to bring a skill set to the table. You can't be obsolete. So what you're going to have to encourage your audience to do is that you need to take a hard look at how do you make money right now? Because the way you make money today ain't going to be the way you make a living in a few years. It won't be. If you got an administrative job, you need to be concerned. If you're some sort of analyst, decision maker, something that can be automated, something that the AI can make it, can make a decision. Because let's think about what AI really is, Dr. Juice. It's artificial intelligence. It's intelligent, but it's artificial. It ain't you, but it can be you. How about that?
Yes, sir. And that's what's it, man. Like, as you know, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. But I was on Lincoln during the MLK celebration, and I was doing a survey, and I'll have those numbers when I analyze those numbers come tomorrow, we'll do another show this week. Hopefully, we'll do one Friday about just getting some feedback on these numbers. And the one thing, Professor, that I noticed during my survey is that a lot of the younger folks were more receptive in taking the survey. Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you very well.
A lot of the young folks were more receptive in taking the survey. They were more interested in the technology because we had a QR code, right? And everybody knows what a QR, well, the people who know. A QR code is where you take your camera on your phone, go to the camera settings, and then you pull up your camera, and then you zoom in on the QR code. It's like some squiggly lines. That's a square, and you scan with your camera on your mobile device, and it pulls up a survey. And the survey had 6 questions. I don't want to give any teasers right now because I'm going to embed that survey within this video once we end this video. But it was just questions about what do you want to see in your community? Do you think Lincoln Avenue could benefit the younger generations when it comes to alternative education like AI, agentic AI, and technology? And just teaching them how to use digital tools and teaching them how to also engage themselves and educate themselves in vocational training and just different questions, and they ask the ages of the kids. So I don't want to give too many teasers because I want everybody to take this survey for real, because if we're going to really try to change what's going on, the trajectory of Lincoln Avenue, our community, Lake Wales, and as you see, I just played some of the black businesses. This is a project that the professor and I are doing with Voss Computers and Urban Matters Black Media Group, and we're doing this in hopes of we can try to regenerate that same economic energy back into Lake Wales, Florida, because we traded business ownership for integration. And when you think about what I just said, we swapped it. And so we had things, but just because we wanted to blend in and integrate, I heard somebody sent me a clip today about Barry Obama, whining about Donald Trump. Oh, I don't want to take anybody serious who doesn't look at me as equal. Well, I'm telling you what I want to do with these folks. I want to be more. I don't want to be equal with our adversaries. I don't want to be equal with the open enemy. I want to be more than them, and we were more than them back in the early 50s and 60s and 70s, Professor. Can you follow that up and just kind of back me up on what I'm saying? I mean, we had more. I mean, it's like we had more. We had more education. We had more pride. We had more. We had more. We just had more pride in ourselves, and we had more integrity. I don't understand this trying to be equal and just going to them to, like you were saying the other day. I think I heard you say, Professor, like it's our responsibility to keep up with our history. Am I right?
You're absolutely right.
So follow me up right there, Professor, and we're gonna try to end this thing real quick. We're gonna try to log off here at Urban Matters Black Media Group. We thank y'all for tuning in, man. We're gonna be bringing some heavy. This is just the beginning of our Black History stages. Our research is gonna be. It's about to be so extensive, right, Professor? And we're gonna show you how you use AI tools and digital tools to research your indigenous, your foundations, and we're going to show you how we're going to represent our community through technology. We're going to allow the technology to do all the work for us, Professor.
Again, my passion is this in my hometown. Think about this. Let's look at Polk County for a minute, Dr. Juicy, and I want to leave you with this. This is something you probably never thought about. Watch this, Dr. Juice. The residents in Lake Wales, the accomplishments that our ancestors, the accomplishments that we made when it came to education. Hear me out. You never thought about it. You went down to the library. The accomplishments that the residents made, our ancestors made in Lake Wales, it was so impressive to a president of the United States of America that he would legislate a law in that town, the only town in Polk County. There's no other school. There was no other school in Polk County that was named by a president. That's how impressed he was of the accomplishments that was made in Polk County. And they named the school after him. So when you think about your own history in terms of that, how could you not be proud of that? How could you not? How could you let that die? When he made it a law to preserve and protect the history of the Black residents in Lake Wales. How could that not touch you? So, our goal, our mission, our objective is to unhide that history, put that history in a digital format so that history can live long after we're gone. That's the mission. That's the objective. And we haven't. Well, you've asked for money. We need money, but how can you get your residents to financially participate in that project, Dr. Zeus?
Well, it's going to be very, very challenging, but I think that we are on the right track. I had some really good input. And as I figured, everything that I was suspecting was pretty much accurate about the younger folks are more in tune to technology. And that was a case study that I was doing the other day on Lincoln Avenue during the MLK celebration 2025. And the one thing that I kept pointing out and I kept reiterating was that there are no businesses on Lincoln Avenue. So what is the celebration really about? I mean, it's a slap in the face to Dr. King, and better known as Michael King. His real name is Michael King, y'all, if y'all didn't know that. He's not Martin Luther King. But that's a whole nother volume.
What about the great educators? What about the people from Lake Wales? Here's the question for you.
Listen, I had a few folks. Go ahead. I'm
7 years. Okay, I have evidence. Black people in Lake Wales don't celebrate the people who constructed an educational institution that was named after a president. Why is that? You don't mention any. You don't miss Mr. Austin. You don't miss Miss Austin. You don't miss Mr. Bro. I can go down. You should do a contest. We should ask some of your artists, and we will one night to put some of the teachers' name. We'll do it.
I grew up on Austin Street. Matter of fact, my mom built the home on Austin Street.
Mr. Austin. So listen, Mr. Austin was a real estate developer. Okay, how could you not celebrate me? You grew up on his street, Dr. Juice. And you mean to tell me you call yourself having a Black History celebration and not one? Come on, Dr. Juice. What's wrong with your people, man?
Laughing. But like I say, Professor, I did what I can do. I'm only so old. I only been on the earth so long. I was just hoping and praying that some older elders, such as yourself, and you did your part. As you can see, we definitely gave you the credit for your contribution of the research that you gave the project. And I want to salute you again, black man. I want to salute you, sir. Thank you for that. And I'm going to keep. I'm going to keep hashing away, Professor, and we're going to keep, like you say, this is a multi-piece project that we're working on, and we're going to have several chapters. And I just wish we're going to start a matter of fact, we're going to put together a something that we can donate. We can set up a donate link so that we can, because in order to do this research, family, we need contributions. We need help. We need
Why do you think I
economics.
sell so much firewood, Dr. Juice? Why do you think I sell firewood?
Yeah.
Your people down there wouldn't give me, man, I ain't gonna give no Voss no money. Why? I'm not gonna deal with that stage 4 stupidity. So I'm gonna do what I have to do with my commitment, and I'm gonna sell firewood so that I can invest into helping you.
Yes, sir, Professor. We sure appreciate you, Professor. You've been listening. You have definitely been a great help and a great service to what we're doing with the history project of Lincoln Avenue, Lake Wells, and Roosevelt Pirates. And we're gonna definitely put this history out. I mean, family, if you don't learn your history, then you'll repeat it. And we don't want to repeat anything because this history has been hidden. It's been lost on our behalf, and it's been also hidden. So there's so much challenges that has been conspiring to erase the black history of Lake Wells, which is so great. But we're going to make sure that we catapult us to the next level. We got the technology coming, family. We got this young man right here, y'all. We talking to this young man. He is a jewel, and we must give him his flowers right now for some of the education and some of the knowledge he has when it comes to AI tools, technology, cybersecurity, data analytics, science, data science. Family, if you don't have the data, you can't solve any problems. And that's just the long and the short of it. You can't solve any problems in your community. Your community is going to continue to look the way it looked. I know we come down on Lincoln Avenue and we all about partying and drinking, but is anybody coming down there trying to create access to resources, access to education, access to political power and economic power? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Y'all all in your feelings. Black folks be worried about the wrong thing. How you broke as hell and you worried about how Donald Trump act and how Joe Biden act? Yes. Who gives 20 shits? Get out your butt hurt feelings and let's get some economic empowerment in this community, in all communities, and let's get on code. Let's get codified. Professor, I always talk about us, let's get codified, right? We have to codify. You are a threat. Y'all look what we did as a black group. The black men stood up this past election. We literally got political figures out of the paint. We literally got entertainers out of the paint who's trying to send us all these mixed messages. We got them out of the paint. As Martin Luther King said in one of his speeches, civil rights didn't cost the nation a dime. It didn't cost them a dime to try to work on civil rights. But when Martin Luther King say, we coming to Washington to get our check, they didn't want to hear that. So like I said, Professor, it's all about an economic journey with me. I'm trying to create group economics in the community. I'm trying to, you can't rebuild a community without economics flowing through that. I know they're building all these houses around here, but that's called gentrification, family. Yeah, the property value going up, but you don't own it. Remember, you sacrificed ownership for integration. You gave up your ownership for integration. See, I let Professor and I let everybody talk on the page on the broadcast, but when Juice go to talking, I go to lighten your ass up, and you gotta excuse me and I'm not apologetic. I'm not apologetic because we need real men. All this in your feelings and your butt hurt and all that there, we don't need that here. We need real men to stand up in the paint. I seen all these guys walking at the beginning of the parade, all these men, and I'm gonna challenge every one of you. What are you gonna do with the economics of your community? How did you walking in the front of a parade contribute to the economics of your community? Did y'all see the crowd that was down there from that police tower that they had? Imagine that amount of people coming and investing economics and investing their money into that community on a daily basis.
Tell us a little bit more about that group, Dr. Juice.
You didn't see that picture,
I saw
Professor?
them, but I don't know. I saw a bunch of black dudes, but what do they do? Can you tell me a little bit about those people?
I'm talking about they had an overhead picture. I'm gonna tell you what the police, they done went and bought they done spent all kind of money. They put all this money in the police force. They got all kind of new equipment. They got motorcycles now. They have those towers that let up, and then they got the cameras in them, and they can view everything up top real high. Yeah, they got a few of those now. They had it on Lincoln, and man, that thing could scan all the way down to the Duck Citrusville from the top of Scenic Highway.
Well, when you think about artificial intelligence, so
they collecting data. That's exactly
when you talk about facial recognition, right? So Grady, that's what Grady judged. So everybody down there, when you talk,
I guarantee they had some facial recognition software in that tower. I guarantee.
Do something crazy. They know everybody that was down there. So they were using. So you telling me they had that? They were using a law enforcement AI.
That's what they was using.
So if you was out there, if you're on Facebook with your guns, your weed, throwing up and all this kind of stuff, they probably could match you if you was out there.
Exactly.
How do you think Grady Judge round up 150 of them at one time?
Correct. Absolutely.
So those,
absolutely.
Have you ever seen those pictures before, Dr. Juice?
Yeah. The pictures that are showing now?
That's the first black school in Lake Wells.
Yes, sir.
On C Street.
Yes, sir.
That's 1959 Roosevelt High School. Yes, sir. That's Roosevelt. That's Lincoln Avenue. Look how much class and dignity they have. That's a graduating class of 1965.
Yes, sir.
That picture right there is by the Wells-Built Hotel. Roosevelt Band. We had all of that. Did you see any of that down in the library, Dr. Juice?
None of it. None of it.
So, what happened to the money that was given? I always have to talk about that. They gave the museum $15,000. Sarah Bush had something to do with that. What happened to that? What happened to the Black history in the Lake Wells Library, Dr. Juice? Well, there you go.
I don't know, Professor.
With Voss Computer Systems, we're going to be a part of building a digital museum like they've never seen before.
Yes, sir. We thank you again. Some force when it comes to this movement. I'm gonna let it play out with a little bit. Let everybody, huh?
I said I'm honored that you would say that. You know, with my background, I've made plenty white corporations rich, and for me, in my organization, to bring you professional services, that's another thing we don't talk about. We don't know about professional services, and I'm very appreciative and gracious that you would acknowledge the professional services that we bring to your organization, sir.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Those some great photos. And just imagine if you got $1 from each one of those people. $1.
Man. Yeah. Just letting it play out, man. Look at all that. Look at all those people, Professor. Just imagine that those was buildings down there. Or those were networks. Wow. What up, boy? Hey, I need some people to come take this survey for me, man. I'm trying to collect data, man. You hear me saying something about the survey right there, Professor?
Absolutely.
QR code right here. QR code. Tell they get a free hot dog. Free hot dog. They got to take the 5-question survey. I asked all the 5 questions, Professor. 5 questions. That's all it would have took. 1 minute. Hey, what's up, boy? All right. Hey, But I gotta admit, Professor, it was not what it used to be back in the days. The participation is definitely thinning out. It's getting very, very thin. But it was cold down there too. It was in the 50s. It was almost in the 40s. And y'all know that's cold in Florida.
The organizers going to have to do a better job.
Absolutely.
They're going to have to create greater value. What's the value? You know, what's the value? What kind of value can you create? Mm-hmm. What value was derived out of that? I mean, imagine if you would have got $1 from each of those people. I have a lot of ideas that can create that, but you know, again, you're gonna have to find a way to monetize it. But then once you do that, then folks are gonna try to get in the way.
Not even monetizing, even the parking is jacked up. You know, like if they would have had like shuttles or something, you know, where they got a major parking lot where they let everybody park at maybe Frazier Field and then shuttle people in. You know, it's so many open areas for organization, definitely. Professor, I stayed in the same spot the whole time. You hear people keep choo. I did not indulge into the, you know, the navigating and this walking around. I was on a mission.
You know, do you realize that?
What's that?
I got my haircut. That building that you facing.
Right there.
That was my barbershop. That was the barbershop, and then that was the black drugstore. That's where everybody hung out after class at Roosevelt. That was the place. We had.
And this was Miss Lily's over here. Miss Lily's produce stand. Oh man, she used to have the best boiled peanuts, man. Oh my goodness.
Do you remember? Do you remember seeing Happy Days? You remember Happy Days?
Yeah.
The Fonz, that was out right there where you have the mouse. That was our happy days. That's when they had the juke joint, they had the ice cream, they had the soda fountain. We had our own right there, right where you pointed.
So this building has historical value, is what you're saying.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Absolutely.
Wow.
That's
wow. Look at the little kids. They like zombies walking around. It was a lot of food vendors down there, but that's pretty much all the business I saw, man. No other expertise, no other skills, just nothing but food vendors.
That's because the organizers, they're not creative people.
Wow. I give them their props for, trying, but we definitely got to get more diverse with the types of businesses and industries that we are involving in this celebration, family. Here I go right here. You got no phone. Nobody got a phone. Well, go bring somebody back with a phone and let them pick the service, and I get all y'all some hot dogs. Whoever got the phone. Because I got the setup right there, Professor.
Yeah.
I had a simple setup. Simple setup. There's my family. But when I tell you it was cold, down there, bro, it was cold. But look at all these little young girls just walking around with no clothes on. I mean, they freezing. They are freezing trying to be cute. You got to take a cert. You got your phone? You ain't got no phone. Nobody got a phone. Well, go bring somebody back with a phone and let them take the survey, and I get all y'all some hot dogs. Whoever got the phone. Because I got all right. Take my survey, man. I'm trying to maintain the community, man. So make well history. I went down to the library, no history. I went down to the museum, no history. They play stupid. I don't know what they're going on. So we're gonna create our own.
Now they gotta have slushy brother.
Yeah. Take that survey from. Some folks got it, Professor. Some folks got it. Some folks didn't. But look at all these kids. Look at all these kids just wandering. Nobody to hold them, teach them, educate them, guide them.
It's probably hot. Put your hands.
I didn't realize I was recording that long. I got, but everybody got to sit down and talk to me. Got to keep the camera going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I post some on social media and stuff.
Oh, that's what you're doing, taking everybody
content,
pictures.
right? Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna go to the house.
All right.
All
All right. Yeah. I'll be right here. Oh, there. Who is that right there, Paul?
That right there?
All right, we got Wallell,
No,
the
no,
legend.
no,
That's a legend there.
no,
The legendary.
no, no.
Yeah, we had some good coverage there, Professor. Good coverage. Some
That was a
great
good job.
coverage. We're gonna edit that, and we're gonna definitely
Just
we're gonna make
imagine
sure
if
we
you got $1.
use this as a case study.
Just imagine if you got $1 from each one of those people, man. $1.
And that's the case study. That's exactly what the case study is going to
And then
entail.
how you could put that money back into educational resources into your community, because it's going to take, before you do all of this other stuff, people got to be educated. And your open enemy is not going to teach you the things. They're not going to teach you about your history. They're going to tell you, think about it. They're not going to tell you how great Mr. Brody was. They're not going to tell you what great educators we had at Roosevelt. They don't even talk about it. They don't talk about it. And here's something else. It's your own black people down there that's hiding the information. How about that? It ain't the white people. It's your own people down there, people that you know.
Sleep
in a coma. And I indict them. I indict them. You got the, what's that? The green or green and gold. They're worthless. You got these people down there. What's the B Street? They're all worthless. And the reason why I say they're worthless, you're worthless because you don't even celebrate your own history, bro. Your own history.
Well, we're going to change that, Professor, here at Urban Matters Black Media Group in collaboration with Voss Computer Systems, LLC. The 2025 year is going to be a year of disruption. It's going to be a year of accountability, and it's going to be a year of economic change. See, if we continue to allow people to tell our history for us, then we'll never get it right. We have to, because when you don't have historical, what's the word I'm looking for? Accuracy. People will come in and they'll remix your history. They'll remix it. They'll hide it. They'll conceal it. And so we're all about the accuracy of the historical legends that built the foundation of Lake Wales. Lake Wales would not be here. Even when you go around the world, it's proven that the foundational Aboriginal Black Americans that were here are the founders and the creators who literally projected and elevated this country into what it is now. And so without us, Lake Wales would not be in existence right now. So I just got to say that, Professor, we're going to bring in a volume 2, a volume 3, a volume 100, if that's what we need to do to tell our entire complete historical record. Let me tell you what happened to me down there, man. I had this random white lady just walk up on me, right? So I was trying to get the hot dogs and everything prepared, right? She had to be some type of spy, because she started just asking all these goofy ass questions like, what are you guys down here celebrating? You know, I'm like, Then some kind of way we got to talking about Trump, and she thought I was gonna just shit on Trump because I'm black. But then she started talking about her German heritage. And I was like, ma'am, you can't talk about anything. You only been on the earth for so long, so you really don't have a history. And so when I said that, she looked at me. She was like, who is this dude? I said, ma'am, I don't even get into history with white folks because you ain't been here long enough to talk about no history. You haven't even existed long enough on the earth yet to really be talking about what type of history you have. So, and then she started like sticking her hands all over my grill, like just getting germs. It's like, I'm trying to figure out what are you doing, man? Who are you? Where are you from? She was an older lady, and she was talking about something about the city, and she was shitting on the city and talking about, I guess, the efforts that they're having with the whole town planning projects. And I'm like, look, man, listen, this is a black holiday right here, man. Don't come down here with all that fuckery. So I'm gonna leave it right there, Professor. It was just strange. I was like, you got the right one, man. They sent you to the right one.
Well,
yeah, but I can't be infiltrated, so I'm really about that life for real. So
they're always curious. Well, all I'm saying is, always been curious about you, always been watching over you. So you got to learn how to move different in 2025, bro.
Absolutely. 2025, we moving different, y'all. Y'all better get on board. As my nephew and my cousin have a song, roll with it or get rolled on.
Hey, Breezy, cut that shit up. Hey, Breezy, cut that shit up.